Most people think dance is entertainment or something you do to help enjoy a night on the town, like Dr. Bob Levine when he's out there on the town all the time. What if dance is one of the most complete wellness tools we have for the brain, the heart, and the body? Today, we're going to explore why movement with rhythm and connection can shift mood fast, reduce stress load, and rebuild physical capacity in a way most workouts do not. To guide us, we are joined by Paul Zaidman, an Australian dancer, choreographer, and studio director from Melbourne. Paul has trained and competed internationally, has worked in television and live performance, including Dancing with the Stars, and has spent decades helping people use partner dance to build confidence, connection, and overall well being. This is not about becoming a performer. This is about what dance does to you physiologically, to your emotions, and to your sense of self. So, Paul, as we get started here again a little bit, what is one specific thing dance changes early on for most people? That kind of opens the door to deeper mental, emotional, or physical shifts.
First of all, good morning, and thank you for having me on this amazing show. I've been wanting to actually tackle this question for a very long time, and it's really interesting that it's coming up now. Whenever people come in, they have this sense of, I don't know, written on their forehead, where do I put my foot, and how does it work, and blah blah blah. And there's a lot of judgments and assessment, and as soon as we get started, we see them kind of relax into it after a little while. But the very first thing that shifts is a little bit of confidence. The way we teach is very specific, very, very different to a lot of other people, whereby we don't just go, this is the step, here's the music, go for it. We actually do a reflection of real life, and very quickly we have to assess them and who they are and where they come from, what do they do. And for example, someone who plays basketball will be very, very good at rock and roll or jive because he uses the calf muscles a lot and the knees and the legs. And so the bouncing effect. So we say, hey, what do you do? Where do you come from? What are your talents? What are your abilities? What does your body do already that I can shift into dance? And when they see they do dance really well because their body's already doing it, they're like, hey, I can do this. Big smile appears on their face. And that's basically that's the very, very first thing we see. And from there, we have an opening.
All
We
right,
have
so
a
that's beautiful opening. The confidence shift and confidence, as we all know, is important to be able to accomplish a lot and to a
yeah.
lot of well being. So we'll get into that as we go through here. Yes, but now I want to just remind those who are with us you're welcome to Well Wave Now. This is where timeless wisdom lights your wellness path.
Yeah. So welcome back, Paul. I know we did a backstory on you, and I hope all of our listeners followed that. It was a great discussion, and I'm looking forward to diving into more of the details today. But when people often think about healing, they might think of supplements or therapy or some kind of a training
Yeah.
plan. But let's start with some of the more fundamentals of the mental, emotional, and physiological state of what dance can do for. Let's start with the nervous system in real time. What's going on with the nervous system?
Look, whenever they dance, whenever they move, there's a fundamental shift in the emotional state first, because that's where their whole psyche comes in, from being sitting on the couch for years and years and years and wanting to do it and thinking one day, one day, one day I'm going to do it. And suddenly when they're actually doing it, there's this light that starts come on. And so they're not, I mean, obviously they're going to be nervous when they come in, but the whole system just relaxes, especially when touch comes into it. And when we start to put two people together, I mean, I spoke about the solo dancer, and it's really well and good for a part of the population that's really confident. But people who come in as a couple or meet someone there, touch is one of the most important things. And as soon as they get into that, the physical touch, the energy that creates that bond around them, and being in each other's, I call it auras. A lot of people don't believe in that, but there's a kind of a energy that happens when you're close to each other, less than 1.5 meters apart, all that sort of stuff. That's why they wanted us that way. So
Okay,
this
one and
is
a
where
half meters. The 1.5 meters, that's like a yard and a
that's it.
half, pretty much, right? I just
Yeah.
wanna
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I know. I saw someone bring a macho man up on stage, and this was Jack Canfield did this demonstration. So Jack, the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy,
Yeah.
so he brought this macho guy up on the stage, and he was getting into his personal space. He was like right in his face, and the guy just kept backing up. Then he pulled out a piece of paper and he showed the guy, and he was literally shoulder to shoulder with the guy, and having him look at the paper. And he was touching him, but it was okay to be close as long as they weren't face to face. So now you're putting people face to face. So when a newcomer comes in, what do you see change or shift first? Is it breathing? Is it, posture? What changes first?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, for oh God, I could write an encyclopedia on this. The minute somebody's face to face, I mean, his body. First of all, we know it's body language. First of all, whenever I stand next to someone, I don't stand in front of them. I stand almost 90 degrees to the side of them, because they then have a way of escaping. As soon as you stand face to face with someone, it's like, oh, I can't go this way, I can't go that way, and it's like I'm in it. So it's either fight or flight, or it's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm here for. I'm nervous. Here we go. As soon as touch or contact comes around, there's kind of like either I really, really like this, or I really, really don't like this, because the internals of the mind make those judgments and assessments and choices really, really quickly based on who's in front of you, what their touch is like, what their posture is like, what their breathing is like. And especially females get this like real quick. They have this protection element that when they hold a man's hand, it's all like, this guy's okay, he's safe, or no, I need to get the hell out of here right now. So there's a real, and I think I'm starting to ramble now, but it's always so much I want to tell you about this
Yeah.
subject.
So along those lines, you mentioned also the mood changes, but you also talked about energy earlier, and on other conversations. So I had to kind of quickly through the vibration part of that.
Yeah.
Help the audience kind of as we started getting into the kind of the wellness aspects of this, physiological wellness aspects of it. What do you think's happening in the nervous system at that point?
Look, I talk a lot about the fire, the like, a campfire as
Uh-huh.
opposed to a house fire, as opposed to a candle. And so the energy inside you, I mean, we all feel, like when you roll out of bed, it's like, oh, here we go. Okay, that's like the candle burning inside you. When you get into the studio, you're kind of holding people's hands. You're alive. You've had your banana in the morning. You've had your coffee. And it's kind of like either, what's the word? Plastic energy or just real energy, like from banana. Anyway, they stand there and they have a fire burning during the day, kind of like we have now. And then you have those people who are like, oh my God, I just got a Mercedes Benz for my birthday. That's like a house fire. So the different levels of energy we see, like I look at it like those fires, and so in that moment, you really see it. You really see it in their eyes. You really see it in their energy, in their fire, especially when somebody does or says something to someone else. There's what we call a loss of power, where you don't know what happened. You actually don't know what happened. You're not even conscious that somebody said or did anything, but suddenly you like have this like, and you suddenly feel tired. That's the first thing, fatigue or sad, and you have no idea why. You're here. There's a lot of people here, but suddenly it's like a real low, and people are like, you okay? And yeah, I don't know. I'm just that's a loss of energy. That's when somebody's come in and taken your energy and rained on your parade kind of thing. So that's where that sort of really drop. And at the same time, there's other ways where somebody says to you, hey, that's amazing, you did that well, or those glasses really suit you, or your dress is really nice, or I like blah blah blah. And suddenly you see like a and that's like boom. So you can see those things shift. And that is what sorry, go ahead.
Yes. So Dr. Bob, what do you think's happening internally when that facial changes and the energy level changes? What do you think that's doing to people physiologically?
Well, as Paul said, it can go either way, but I think most people, and I'm not a dance instructor, Paul, so you got to correct me if I'm way off base, but it occurs for me that I actually do take dance. Wow.
Were you moving something?
My hands
No.
are free.
Okay.
What happened?
Must have been that energy coming through. But Bob, often you talk about, on one hand, you talk about stress, and you go, there's cortisol released. So what's What's happening in there, Doc Bob?
Well, I think when if somebody's on the confident side, like they get in there, they're excited, they're confident. That's different from somebody who's concerned. They're anxious about whether they're going to do it right. So they're going to be in the more fight or flight kind of stress side, and the person who has a lot of confidence, I mean, they're going to be freewheeling. They're going to feel good. Their nervous system's not going to be activated to the same extent or in the same way as someone who is worried about how they're going to perform out there on the dance floor. And in my classes, when I take in dance, in my limited experience, I would have to say that it can go both ways depending on how your day is going. But so I enjoy being in a class when I have the confidence of that I'm going to do something the right way. And, there's touch with the partner, and that's always fun, I think. And, but then there are times when we're doing a difficult step and it's like, I don't know if I can get this. And that makes you nervous. It makes you feel like, you don't know what you're doing exactly. So I think it just depends on somebody's attitude, who they're being in the moment. Are they being confident? Are they being worried? And that'll translate to the nervous system, fight or flight, or, relaxation, calm, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly there's benefit for someone to just be moving, right? To dancing. I remember way back when the Fitbits first came on the scene and everyone was tracking all of their movements and their steps. And you used to be able to share that. Maybe you still can, but we had a group, family members and a cousin or two or something that was all in this competing to see how many steps they're getting. And this one sister-in-law was always crushing us. And we're like, she's absolutely cheating. She must put that on her dog and have her dog run around in circles or something. But it was because she was doing, daily activities, vacuuming or whatever, but she was dancing while she was doing it. So all those dance movements were giving her all those extra steps, according to her. I still think she was putting it on her dog. But anyway, there is benefit, right? But there's a different benefit, which we've been talking about, and you touched on, Paul, when there's connection, when there's partner connection, right? The hand connection, the framing, the shared rhythm. So explain that whole, because you see both the independent and also the couples dances. What's going on?
Yeah, the whenever you're in contact with someone, we see it every day. You guys have done it for years and years. Whenever you meet someone, let's just put into a basic human form. You shake hands with someone. Hi, how you doing? Good to meet you. Bang. Straight away, you guys know as soon as this guy's going to be a wet fish handshake, or it's going to be a real strong or some doofus is going to try to crush your hand. Hey, look at me and dominate. Or that thing where they put their hand on top of yours and try to dom. There's so many different elements to it, and that first touch, that first connection, the internal system, call it the nervous system, call it psyche, call it the soul, the spirit, the energy, whatever it is, knows straight away we're going to have a good meeting, we're going to have a good contract, this is going to go well, or I don't want to be anywhere around this guy or girl or chair or horse or whatever. You're just like, just yuck, I want to get away from it. I talk a lot about dancing with a lot of beautiful women in my time, and that's just like that. It just comes with the job. And early on, I went, okay, they're gorgeous, great. In my early years, I'm like, oh my God, I'm dancing with a model, and now it's kind of like, well, she's just a human being. So now let's see what she brings to the table. Let's see what he brings to the table. Who are they really? What do they have? What are they really here for? And as I said, most of the really, really beautiful women I dance with I needed to have a shower afterwards. I felt poisoned. I felt, like I was dirty. Most of let's say, some of the elderly ladies I danced with, like in their 80s, I just wanted to sit there and listen to the whole story for the rest of the night. They were beautiful. That had us settled. I played chess with one of them. So it's really a feeling, an emotion, a connection when you put your right hand, especially the man's hand, on the lady's shoulder blade, on this you call a scapula, which is located literally on the other side of her heart. So I'm standing there and I've got her heart in between my hand and my heart. There's like this circular energy that contains us. Man, I can talk about this for ages, but I think Dr. Bob had his hand up before.
Well, I just have to ask you a question. I want to know why you felt the need to take a shower after dancing with a beautiful woman. I cannot understand that. Tell me.
It was really weird. It was really weird. I felt dirty. I felt like I had been one of them. I actually lay down. I went in one of the back rooms and I lay down and I had a real stomach ache and which went into my intestines. And it was like this. Look, we call it energy vampires, where some people, they may know, they may not know that they are going after your energy. There's like a neediness. There's like a, give me yours because I haven't got mine. I need, it's just like a, whoa, get away from me. And again, I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying
So it's an energetic transfer. I was just wondering what you, I thought, maybe you were having a heart attack or maybe, I don't know.
Well, you know what? It's,
You were so dumbfounded by these beautiful ladies.
no, well, that's another thing. I mean, some
Well,
really,
Dr. Bob's getting lonely, and so we're not going to let Dr. Bob go down this path and take us into the adult realm of podcasts. We're gonna we're gonna we're gonna stay in the family realm of the podcast.
There you go. Okay, I get it.
So early on, you talked a little bit about helping people make that shift and the confidence in there. If you come into somebody that's kind of stuck and people who are kind of scared of making that first move, maybe they out of the way, they don't want to go out there. How do you mentally? If somebody's sitting here now saying, "Boy, I love to dance, but I'm kind of scared of getting out there." What's that kind of first thing you do to kind of help them make that shift? To start to feel safe to get out there and interact with somebody.
well, we get into their world. Like, why are you scared? What's going on? What's the judgments and assessments that you're creating in your own mind? What is it about dancing that scares you? What is it that if you do it, what will you feel like? What will you be? What do you become? Like, do you think you will become like I had guys telling me so many times, I don't want to be, I don't want to dance because I don't want to become gay. I'm like, what? Where are you coming with that stuff from? Like, just because I dance because there are women here. That's why I dance. I don't play football because there are no women on. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that go on in people's minds. They have this, I call it the act, the ego, the second self, whatever you call it, whoever's talking to you and making those decisions and whispering in your ear, hey, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. I go into that. I go, so what happens for you if you take a step this way? And you have a woman in your hand and you're in rhythm, or you have a man in your hand and you're in rhythm. What will happen? What are your past history? What's your past history with men when and is that coming into the dance floor? Yeah, you bring that in. And so we attack that real quickly. And I do it I weave it through our spiel, welcome to Dance House International, blah, blah, blah. This is the place where we can introduce you to your next ex-wife, it's like stuff like that. And people are like, yeah, okay, that's me. So we do it in a very theatrical kind of like entertaining way. But when we see, and that's why I do it, I want to see the response in people. I want to see who's going to be standing and going like this, going, who's going to be, what type of reaction we're going to get. Who's going to laugh? Who's going to sit down? The minute that happens, bang, I go for that. There, good. The rest of you come over here. And I tell my offsiders, my partner and my two teachers, okay, watch that guy, watch that girl, make sure she's comfortable, make her a coffee or something, give them a hot chocolate, get them in, maybe take this couple over here by themselves. So there's a lot of third person watching. And because we see it as a very, very precious opportunity for someone to literally change their life the next day. This is not just color and movement for us. This is like somebody's been sitting there for 8 years saying, one day I'll go in and I'll find my perfect match and I'll dance and he'll sweep me off my feet. And that's the opportunity we go for. Because most people will go in and dance and they'll have a drink, they'll go to a nightclub and then whatever. These guys who come in and girls, it's like, it's so precious and it's so important to us to get it right the very first time. As I said, I wish I could show you some. I mean, we've got a camera, in the studio. I could link you into that so you could see how it works.
Live streaming
Next
Paul.
time, next time you have to take us into your studio and show us that.
Yeah,
That good point about. That's an important thing, to change people's lives. And I think from our discussions and things, that's not an overstatement. So we'll dive into how it changes their lives, both from the mental aspects and the wellness aspects next. But right now, Breck's chomping at the bits to give us a word from from a sponsor here.
Yes, yeah. I want to tell all of our listeners about Brain IQ Pain Eraser. It's a roll-on. It's used by our very own Tim Daniels. After many years of being a D1 athlete and an avid exerciser, he gets relief with Brain IQ Pain Eraser, especially in his knees that he's beat up in his wrestling career. It delivers instant targeted relief using advanced nanotechnology combined with some powerful natural ingredients that absorb quickly right where you need them. No pills, no mess, just roll it on and get back to moving and dancing. It's ideal for lower back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, just joint discomfort, or just everyday aches and pains, making it great for the active adult or a busy professional and anyone just tired of pain slowing them down.
Yeah.
It's
So
compact, easy to use, and effective. It's Brain IQ Pain Eraser roll-on, and we will leave a link in the show notes for you. Tim?
it definitely does help for all those things. The one thing it doesn't help with, Dr. Bob is so exacting and fastidious. Sometimes I wish I could just take it and roll it on Dr. Bob, but it doesn't work on that. He still just keeps me in line too much.
Well, that would be really, really strange if it actually worked on my expressions and my conversation. It'd be very strange.
It'd be flying off the shelf if we could use it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd be buying it by the case.
All right. So you talked, Paul, back to our discussion here. You talked about a shifting mood quickly once you get into unlocking things emotionally. And that confidence you talked about the dance can do. But now let's spend a little bit of time on what that all means and why it all matters for just from a wellness aspect.
Wow. Again, these are brilliant. To be well, there's a lot of, and I hope I don't speak out of turn here, but there's a lot of things that we do, especially in these days where for example, I won't take a Panadol. I'll do Rusa and rub my points and stuff. So from that point of view, I'm kind of very much into holistic, but also when I say holistic, I mean even the music that we play. There's a specific music that I put on based on what is going on. And they laugh at me all the time. Like I'll go up to the music station and I'll look around and I will actually feel can I say, I don't want to keep saying energy. I'll feel the heat in the room. I'll feel the cold. And this is not the temperature that we know, it's the temperature from the people. And so when I choose the music, it needs to reflect or align or bring them down or bring them up or move them into a positive state. So there's been a lot of talk about the 440 hertz that Rockefellers or whatever apparently moved us into ages ago, and it's meant to be 438 or 432. So the music I choose is in line with the human heartbeat and the human circulatory system and what I feel. So in terms of that, the wellness that is created is it's from an external point of view always, but in a way it's from an internal point of view where it's what you create around yourself. And so, like we said, we can bury ourselves in our work and not go to the gym and not eat healthy and not look after ourselves. And then, the body sort of goes, well, I'm suffering here. Or you can, wake up in the morning, have your lemon and water and have your banana and have your whatever it is that makes your specific internals work better. And then you have a great day. But again, there's so many factors. There's so many factors that affect it. And I guess dancing, music, energy, vibration will affect you somewhat in a positive way. And dancing is one of the things that I've stayed in because I've seen the positive changes in the healing aspect of people's psyche. I do like a dance healing session with a lot of ladies. We put the curtains down. We talk about what goes on with them. I try to dance with them. I try to move them. And through that movement, I can almost biofeedback scan them, to see, do they move on to that? Will they turn well? Are they confident? Are they not confident? What do they feel about themselves? Hang on a second. There's a blockage here. I can't get them to do this move. What is it about this move? And I tell them the history of the move and they're like, they either shine or shrink. And then I go in on that, and so the wellness aspect is when I can analyze them, look at me, I feel like I'm a doctor.
Well, you're a doctor of dance. You're a
Yeah.
doctor of dance. I mean, you're an expert. You've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And I've seen you dance, and you're really talented. You have a lot to offer, obviously. And so, yeah, come on, keep talking.
Thank you. And it's just a feeling that I get. And Anna, I talk about Anna, she's my lady, she's my wife, my everything. She keeps looking at me like, why are you stop doing that, will you? And what she's talking about is I'll spend 3 minutes with someone and they'll be crying and they'll be telling me their life story about why, and they're not drunk, they're not that, and they're not on drugs, but I open the door and I do it very carefully because I've had a background. I've had 12 years of oncology, and I've studied that art in the study of the human being and what happens and why they react and their eyes and looking at them. And I'll ask these questions.
Paul, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. You said ontology, right?
Ontology, the study of the human.
Yeah, not oncology. I want to make
Not
sure.
a cancer study. Yeah.
Okay, because ontology is the study of the being of human beings.
Correct.
You're
Yeah.
very so you're tuned in. It sounds to me like you're really tuned in well and able to read people very quickly because of your talent and observation.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah.
that clarification, Dr. Bob, because you already called him a doctor. So now we want to make sure
Yeah.
people aren't going to be referring to him for their, cancer. So.
Oh, is that what it means? I was actually going to ask you what the hell that meant.
Yeah, ontology is cancer.
Okay, no, I'm not one of those. But yeah,
Oh,
look,
yeah.
the reading of the human being, I do it. Again, I'm not going to say I'm a guru. I'm not going to say I do meditation or anything like that with them. But there is a knowing, and it's like I know it, and I know that I know it, but I can't explain it, and I don't even want to start to explain it because people are telling me, "Oh, don't say you're a therapist. You can't. It's illegal to say you're a doctor." Like, okay, cool. I'm not, but this is what's happening.
So I'm going to
And
jump in here. I'm going to
yeah,
jump
go
in
ahead.
for a second because what's going on, I believe, is that you've got the people in a different environment that they're not really used to. So when you come at them with the ability to read them, to understand them, you're creating yourself as a safe person to talk to and share with, and their normal life pattern is interrupted because they're there with you in a dance studio talking
Right.
about dance. So that allows them to express themselves, and that's when people are free. That's when that stuff starts coming out. That's just the way it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So Paul, does this, when you have these experiences with them, are you just doing it because you're a nice guy and you like to interact with people and help them generally? Does it make them better dancers?
Question.
Look, as far as a nice guy, I looked in. I did a bit of soul searching a long time ago, and I saw that there's a lot of dance teachers out there that want to take advantage of the industry, and there's even more dance teachers that love the industry and want good for it. And for us to do that, we have to show the dance industry as a safe, welcoming space rather than the second tier level of fear right behind public speaking and death. We want to be able to explain it because I love what I do. I love to see people win, and I love to see, I'm going to get emotional a second, and I love to see people reconnect with their partners, their husbands, their wives, that for years and years and years, they've had a blockage somewhere. And, they're in that 1 foot out the door stage of their relationship. And when people come in and do that, you can see a real shift in it. And so when we move into that space, we do want good for them. We want them to really feel what dance can do for their relationship, what dance can do for their life, how they can get strengthened, how they can create a new power.
Yeah. So, Paul, I guess your opinion would be that dance can really help people get out of their own minds, right? And so what's the most common, bonds that you see that they're able to overcome? Is it judgment? Is it shame? Is it anxiety? What are some of those controls that you see helping by dancing?
The first thing I see is safety, because without human being feeling like they're supported or safe, or they won't be ridiculed, judged, and assessed or made fun of, without that, nothing will happen. And so we break those bonds first. And so once those bonds are broken, they can see they're safe to be themselves, their real selves, everything else starts to come out. And again, as I do it through comedy, because I have a Russian Jewish background, and we Jews love to laugh at ourselves. Yeah, we laugh at ourselves a lot. And we make jokes about ourselves. And so most of the comedy is internally based. And it's actually quite funny. Well, in my head anyway. And because it's funny in my head, they start to laugh and they go, okay, well, he's not pointing the finger at us. And it becomes this, I am like him, or our life is like his life. I joke about, Jews running the world, and, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm making basic income. I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment with a 3-year-old. I don't know where that money's coming from. So, that's kind of like, it relieves attention, and it's kind of like, okay, well, he is like us, and therefore it's safe to say something about my life. And then that person goes, oh, I'll introduce my life as well. So suddenly all that starts to open, and I kind of allow that to work.
Is that, Paul, how does that help with regard to anything related to dance? That's what I'm wondering about. Like, once you have this experience with people, there's more freedom, you're sharing information, it's enjoyable. What's going on there?
So
How
what
does it help
happens is they trust me more. And so when then the next thing I say is, hey, come over here for a second. Let me just show you the one little cute step. They go, okay, cool. He's okay. So once I get them on the dance floor, then the magic begins. And so the relationship has to start. Dance is a secondary thing to human relations. I look at dance as a mirror to life. As soon as people come into the studio, they do on the dance floor what they do in life. And so my thing is to help them in life by tuning them in my garage, in my studio. So all the
So dive into that a little bit more, Paul. So someone comes in, and now they feel. And while you're doing this, I just want to refer back something for you and and also for the audience. We had a discussion not too long ago. A person named Jenny Cohen was into somatic healing and wellness, and she kind of said the same thing. I make people feel safe in their body, and then it can kind of unleash their life. So I work with that. Now you start seeing this. You felt people help trust you. You seem to feel a little more confident. You got them doing some moves. Now something they say, I can dance. And so take that how to when they start dancing better and getting into it. What then does that do for them in life as well, as you just started to talk to them?
brilliant. And I'll do this in a little story of a lady. I won't mention her name, but she was a lady that came to me a long time ago. She was in her 60s. And she told me after 3 or 4 years, she was a virgin. A 6-year-old. She never married, doesn't have family. Her mother was very, very strict on her. And through that psyche, no man was good enough. That's it. And so she's dancing with me. I'm 28 years old. She's 60, I think, back then. And basically what happened was I got her to a point where she was so confident that she came in one day about 6 years later, because I've been dancing with her for 6 years now. She's been dancing with me. And she booked she said to me, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going on a cruise. No, she was in Australia. I'm going to Canada and I'm going to cruise around, Ontario or whatever. Anyway, the next thing I know, this is like 9 months later, I get a postcard from her, and she is sitting on a horse, and there's another horse next to her. And on that other horse is a Canadian ex-Mountie officer with the red jacket and the booties and the big brim hat. And he's sitting there nice and proud with medals. And she's sitting on the horse next to him, looking at him like this. Right? and it reads, Paul, thank you so much for all your work, blah, blah, blah. I won't be coming back. I found my true love. I'm like, what? And so the work that we do gets people 2 years, 2 months, 6 years to a point where they go, I can do this. I don't have to be there anymore. The stuff that I was told is not true, or blah, 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 or whatever goes on in their head. All the dancing that we do, and every dance we have cha-cha, rumba, samba, paso doble, jive, waltz, tango, foxtrot, etc., etc. And every dance has its own specific frequency, has its own story, has its own ability to move you. Like, for example, I joke about the Latin stuff, whereas the cha-cha-cha is the flirtation. Then the samba is the physical part of the relationship. Then the rumba is the love story. Then the paso doble is the angry first argument with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and then the driver's like, yes, I'm rid of her, or yes, we're together again. So there's the 5 stages of the relationship, but we joke about that, and we use those as well as the music and how it affects them. And so there's a lot of stuff that we see that people do in life that stops them. And the way we teach what happens with them and how we safely take them from one step to another allows them to become more confident, more self-aware, more self-worthy, and see themselves as, I am worth something. I am not what my friends told me. I am not this, because in real life, my friends put me in the back seat or whatever. Whereas here, nobody puts baby in the corner in my studio. And so I kind of mold them through that. They get that strength, that mental bicep curls or whatever they do, the physical, and then they go out there. And suddenly you see their life changing. I've seen women who come to me and they go, look, I've met my true love because I stood up straight, because the posture that we create in ballroom has them grow a couple of inches. And suddenly she walked past the cubicle where this guy was, they're working for 10 years, for God's sake, in this place. They never saw each other. Suddenly she walked past, he noticed her. He said, hey, how you doing? Only because she stood up for 10 years. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, isn't it wonderful? We never saw each other in the lift, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, and this is the pain that I feel sometimes when it's like that time lost that, had you come to me 10 years ago, what would have happened?
Yeah.
But that I can
Well,
go
you
on.
can't cry over spilled milk. So,
I think you addressed my next question is, I was really wanting to get into more of the details of so many people feel disconnected. And so how is, dance a better socialization? And man, you just gave a perfect example of that. Is it's not just the interaction they have in the studio, but it's outside the studio as well.
Absolutely. It's so, it's so crazy to see that. It really is crazy to see that. And
You covered what I wanted to get into was that socialization. It's not just it's not affecting your students in the studio only, but they're also in their lives outside of the studio.
yeah, they have so much power and so much energy to go and do what they really wanted to do. And really, I think in a way, the reason I'm still in dance is because of that, what I went through at school and managed to get out of and managed to stay clear of and build my life despite the bullying and the fights and everyone telling me that, you're a sissy, you're gay, or you're never going to make any money. No one's going to look at you. You're a man. You need to have a trade. And this is coming from parents, friends, all sorts of stuff. And to this day, like to date, I've been all around the world on a 6-star cruise line, which sailed out of Miami, which is a crystal company. And they took me all around the world and paid me to dance. I've driven my dream car, which is the Hummer. That was like my thing. Because I was in the military a while ago. I've been on shows like Dancing with the Stars. I've been on, to Blackpool. I'm currently, well, not currently, back in 2014, I took Australian to 4th place. So it allowed me to get out there and prove those naysayers wrong about my life. And a lot of people go, well, if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, you're not successful. That's in the Jewish realm. It's like, well, I'm a dance teacher, I dance with women, and I get paid for it. And according to my rabbis, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad boy. I'm going to hell. But this is what I believe that
take me with you,
yeah. But this is what I believe, that God's spirit, energy, the creator, whatever it is that put us here, I believe that this is my mission. This is what I'm here for. And when you enter our studio, that's my synagogue, that's my church. That's where I get to minister and administer and create a sense of self, a sense of being, a sense of purity, and a sense of like, what do you actually want to do with your life? This is where you can create it. This is where you can do it.
It's excellent.
You mentioned biceps, and it made me think of the gym, and it made me think of, I've seen you dance, and you've got some serious high performance dance moves that require a lot of physical strength and flexibility and coordination.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff.
Yeah. So Bob, you're taking us right into
Right into the next segment.
Perfect. Let's go for it, because I think this is really important. I mean,
Yeah,
all
good
this other
job.
stuff is very important too, but man, when I think of dance, I also think of physical performance. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's the movement training, it's balance training, coordination, stamina, joint work, and it's just all layered together in something that's enjoyable. And I think about, my own exercise. I do it. I don't really enjoy it, but man, put me in a racquetball court or out on a pickleball court or put me on my mountain bike on a great trail and I'll go and go and go. And that's a similar thing that's going on with people that get the fever with dance, right? They
Yeah.
can continue to build up that stamina. So from a fitness standpoint, what does dance build for people? Let's look at the common areas. Is it balance? Is it coordination? Is it endurance? What is it all of it? All of the above?
It's literally all of the above. It's kind of like swimming. It's kind of like everything that plus plus it breaks you through that wall. When you hit that, like you go running and you go, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I can't go anymore. And you take another 10 steps and suddenly you're through that wall and suddenly you can go forever. It's that kind of thing. Physiologically, I did a little bit of because I loved in school. I excelled at physical education, human development, and biology. And I kind of remembered a couple of things about the body. I'm no doctor, but I remembered the muscles of the body really well. Very basically, the major muscle groups, and the muscle that I love the best, the two muscles, the glute system, the butt, and the gastrocnemius and soleus, the calf muscles. And those calf muscles, one of the reasons I love them is because they're attached above the knee and below, both above the knee and below the ankle with the Achilles. And we say when you point your toe, you're actually activating and you're creating more flexion in the knee. And so for us, we do a fitness program based on dance where you come in, and this a lot of times for people who just want to get in, lose weight, but also there's a lot of what we call the competition squad kids. And those adults, they're in that 1 hour training session where the music doesn't stop and they just keep going. Cardiovascular system goes through the roof. They're reaching a good 120, 130 heart rate. And then we drop them down and we say the resting heart rate should be sort of well, adults around about 80, 70. My resting heart rate is 56. And so we're using a lot of that physiology to get them through the competitions, because in the competition scene, you have what we used to call fartlek training or interval training. So you have to dance for between 60 and 90 seconds at a sprint rate, 100-meter sprinting capacity, and then stop for like 10, 20 seconds and then go again. And then so we do that 5 times. So your energy system has to be up and down, and you have to be able to know how to use your breathing to slow down your mental state. And plus, we've got cha-cha-cha, which is fast, samba, which is rumba, slow. Paso doble, aggressive. Dive, out of this world, energy. So you've got to know how to regulate your capacity, your energy, your physical energy, so that you don't run out of steam. When I first started in this game, I did a cha-cha-cha, the most amazing cha-cha-cha you've ever seen. I was at 50% capacity. I'm like, I got 4 dances to go. What am I, crazy? I got no energy left. So I had to really learn how to make that work for me.
Yeah.
We do push-ups, we do sit-ups, we go running, we eat. I get people in to talk about nutrition. I get people in to talk about mental state, mental fatigue, everything to do with how the body must run and how it does run and how we know it runs.
Yeah. So you're working in this. So that's people somewhat in the competitive environment you're getting in training for as well, but you work for them in the social environment, and you
Absolutely.
train people from 20 to Bob's age, 85. So how do you help? How do they adapt differently? How do you help them adapt differently? How do you help each one of them kind of reach their peak wellness and not be afraid to be 85-year-old Bob Levine and step out on the floor and partner with somebody and do a cha-cha-cha and then be able to
Yeah.
do it 5 times?
Look, the very first thing we do is with the kids, we let them have fun. With the adults, anyone sort of that's an adult that comes in, we say, look, first of all, do you need to tell me anything? Knees and ankles. My thing is knees and ankles, lower back, right? Tell me if you got any ankle problems, knee problems, or lower back problems, if your doctor has told you anything. And so that way I know if they can pivot their foot or twist. Because look, from my point of view, I'm not a doctor, but I think God has a sense of humor, and it's really ironic. The femur bone, he's got the strongest joint in the body, which is up with a ball and socket joint with the hip, and then he's got the most weakest joint in the body, which is the knee. It's got like 12 different things holding it together. Synovial capsules and bursae and fluids. What is the worst thing you can do? So we actually make sure that I need to know what's going on with them. If they're strong, then they'll say to me, "Oh, look, I want to lose a bit of weight." Okay, cool. Well, let's take you through a 5-step process, as in not like I don't have a process, but it's kind of like, okay, you did this now. Now, can you go a little bit higher in your calf muscle? Can you rise up a bit? Can you bend in your knee a little bit lower? Okay, hold it. That hurts. Okay, stop doing that. Let's see if your back works. Can you twist this way? How far can you move that way? How far can you shoulder move? So from that point of view, we get them to a state of fitness and well-being where they can do it themselves in their own home. Do a 1 push-up a day. Great. This week, do 2 push-ups a day. Don't have your belly touch the floor. Make sure your belly button is tucked back to your spine. That way you're activating your abdominals, the whole thing. But we don't do it as hard as we go with the competition squad people. With them, we go quite hard, and we make sure the intensity is elevated. The heart rates are elevated, but we still monitor them. We don't want to kill people. It's dancing, but it's it's still active. There's still a lot of stuff going on.
Paul, you just described the three hosts of the podcast here with knees, ankles, and backs. If someone has stiff joints, or they're just a low energy person and low confidence, what style do you start with? How do you kind of introduce a beginner so that they get excited about dancing?
Yeah. Look, I always start with a low impact activity like foxtrot or rumba. So foxtrot, for people who I'm going to describe this really easily. Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers is kind of like what we call ballroom, standard, or modern, which are the 3 words we use for bow tie, long dress, waltz, tango, foxtrot, etc. Then you've got the Latin stuff, or Latin American stuff, which is the Patrick Swayze and Dirty Dancing kind of thing. It's like the funky ripped jeans, t-shirt, kind of go for it, sexy. So Latin is like salsa, bachata, merengue, cha-cha-cha, rumba. So we start off with rumba, which is, we say, if you can do rumba, you can do anything. And if you can do foxtrot on the Fred Astaire side, you can do anything, because those are the major working activities that you can find any of the other dances within. And so I would say rumba, which is literally just take your body center, your torso, shift it from one foot to another, sideways. Humans go sideways better than forward and back. If they go forward and back, it's like, which foot do I use? But if you go sideways, go this way. There's only the right foot here. The left foot's on the other side. So we sway them that way first. As soon as they see that happening, I know that their body's weight is on one foot. Then their body weight is on the other foot. And as soon as that happens, everything in the body aligns. Like different muscle groups have to hold, different posture groups have to hold. And if they go anywhere, I feel it. If they're going onto the back of their heels, if they're coming into the front of the ball of the foot, if they're between the ball and the toe, I want them there so they can use the leverage aspect, large surface area and appendages to manipulate body weight with. So there's a lot of things that we look at to make sure that they're in the right frame of mind, they're in the right fitness level. And
So I have a free program called How to Walk Your Way Out of Chronic Pain. Do you have a program called How to Dance Your Way Out of Chronic Pain?
I'm actually thinking of building one, because up to now it's just been, well, I'm not a doctor. I can't help you.
No, I'm being serious though, because when you're teaching people to dance, you're teaching them symmetry. You're not teaching them imbalance. You're teaching them symmetry. So some people in pain usually have a lot of imbalances and different kinds of structural imbalances, neuromuscular imbalances, energetic imbalances. But my point is, do you think with dance you can resolve some of that? I'm just curious. I have no idea.
We have resolved. We have.
Yeah.
And again, I'm kind of really not fearful, but cautious in saying, hey, we can do this for you, because, it could have been coincidence all those 78,000 times. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to, because as you all know, that one time.
What do you say that you've seen? Like you've seen it. Like they came in a certain way, they went out a certain way. That's your observation. What have you seen happen?
Yeah, my observations are, first of all, chronic pain goes away. Knee problems go away, because most people don't know how to use their knees properly. Most people don't understand that it's not just the knee you have to bend, but the backside you have to engage, the tummy you have to engage, the hamstring you have to engage, the adductors you have to engage, the calf muscle. And so once you engage all those muscles, the quadriceps don't have to work as hard. There's so many things that we can talk about in having their subscapular muscle pushed down, the latissimus dorsi pushed down, and stand up properly through posture. There's so many things.
So what I think that we could say for our audience is that check out dance because, dancing could help in terms of it's a great movement, set of movement routines. It's balanced. It might be a great way for people to explore how to alleviate chronic pain, for instance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because look, we can talk all day about where that chronic pain comes from. One thing that I've seen is that to dance a certain way that we expect, you've got to stand in a certain way. And as soon as they engage those, you see the chronic pain either go away or come back really, really tight. And then we go, okay, what's happening over here? And then we hit that target organ or target muscle group or joint or whatever it is that's going on. And so now we can go, okay, well, there it is. Again, rather than putting in, as the doctor hitting the knee with the hammer and getting kicked in the face, that's a kind of knee-jerk reaction that we see once we ask them to do the step properly, and they either do it really, really well or they don't do it, and they say, oh, I've got to be careful because my shoulder, from my old football, I've got to be careful because, and I go, okay, cool. Well, is dance, and then I make a judgment really quickly. I go, is dance something that will help you? Or, no, sorry, don't do it. Let's call your physician and see what they say. Because if I do something and it gets worse, then, we're all in trouble. So there's a lot of things that we look at to make sure that we can definitely, but look, absolutely. I'd love to speak to you more about that because
All right. So we got two more quick questions for you. I'll have to be quicker now, but two quick questions for you. One, in the absence of being able to be with Paul Zaidman in his studio in Australia, how can somebody evaluate and find an instructor almost as good as Paul? What would you have them look for and ask people?
All right. So this is brilliant. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but first of all, no contracts. Do not go to a studio which has contracts. We don't have contracts. You come here, you want to dance, you dance. You don't want to go dance, go away. Doesn't matter. We don't care. Right. So number one, someone who will not sign you into something, that's number one. And number two, talk on the subject matter. Like as a dance teacher who talks about what you specifically need and want and your body, great. Stay with them, enjoy. Someone who talks about themselves, their own studio, look at me, run, get out of there. Because it's not about me and what I've done. I've lived my life. If you want to know, great, we'll talk. But I want to know what you have. I want to know your life. I want to know how to help you. I want to know where you're coming from. What are your ailments? What are your, thoughts and feelings and how can we make your life better? Yeah. I mean, I can take you through my studio and show you everything, but that's talking about me again. I want to know where you're coming from. And so those two things I always tell people, and I'm not going to name any studios or anything, but any dance teacher that can actually put into words the experiences that they've had in their life and make you do exactly what they can do through metaphors, analogies, descriptions, etc., and continuously succeed at that, great. Go for it. Stay with them. They're good.
Now, and this one may be tougher here in the apps because we're talking a lot about partner dance here in this, but got somebody listening, they're excited and say, I want to know what dance, I want to feel this emotional shift. I want to feel this confidence shift.
Yeah.
They don't have a place to go just yet. Dance related things you would say, hey, here's something simple you can do to at least start experiencing something.
You're saying like, are they in remote areas or are you talking about, are they?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. They could be in, Chicago. I'd have, but say, I'm not quite ready to go sign up for, for a class.
Yeah.
What can I, what Paul said, I'm really excited about, what can I do? Is there anything they can do?
Definitely. Look, they can, watch. I mean, I'm pretty sure studios will allow you to watch dancing. We have a big table in the front of our studio. Come in and sit down. I'll make you a coffee and just watch. You don't have to do anything. Just watch it for the next 6 months. I'll make you a coffee for 6 months until you get that ready. Diet. It has the routines. It has a warm-up drill. It has YouTube page is still live. It has lots of different modalities, teaching modalities where you can do it at home. You know, there's a quick tip series. There's our experiences there. We're going to clean it up a little bit because I've put a lot of our experiences, which is kind of fun, kind of funny, but there's a lot of different routines and stuff you can jump onto. I can leave my with you guys later. We don't have
Yeah.
to do it now, but yeah, definitely we can.
Okay, but what do you,
So it's Dance House International, all one word. And I'm just going to show you quickly so they can see what it looks like.
What you're
That's what it looks like. It's got that little symbol on the side. And if you go to the videos, it's got lots and lots of different things on it. The other one is the app, which is called Dance Life, and you can get it on App Store. It's free to download. You've got the different things that you can do, which is the training sessions. So you got the routines, you got the diet, you got the dance floor behavior and etiquette, the book that I wrote, and the teaching the teacher stuff. And there's a lot of different things like me on Dancing with the Stars with Kimberly Davies.
That's excellent. It's been so fun to have you on as our guest, Paul. And certainly for our listeners, you found out that dance isn't just fun. It can be also a state change, connection and conditioning all in one practice. And I think that it meets people where they're at, right? You could start as a beginner.
Absolutely. Look, and longevity as well. We didn't speak about longevity. Like I've just had 56th birthday. And so now I'm kind of looking at it going, well, I've just started because some of the guys that I'm learning from are in their 80s. Our example is 84. She comes in, she's 84. I said to Anna, like, if I was single, man, I'd be calling her. Like 84. She's looking beautiful. Anyway.
Yeah, that's amazing. If wellness feels complicated, just small movements with rhythmic movements and shifting your nervous system, shifting your mood, shifting your capacity to move more, and it might even help you get in front of more people too with dance. If this has helped you or someone that's listening today, please subscribe to the Wellness Wave Club on YouTube and join our continue to talk about this on the Wellness Circle. It's our Facebook group. We have a great group there on the Wellness Circle, and we invite everyone to join. And until next time, everyone, stay curious, stay empowered, and remember, wellness, it's in you.